Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch. If you are new, welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and giving my channel a try. And if you're a returning viewer, as always, thank you so much for coming back and watching and maybe stitching with me. I love it. I love hearing about too, if you're stitching with me, what you're stitching on, because I like to hear that too. So this time of year is obviously the season of parades for all of our projects. And I thought about making this one a project parade, but I didn't have everything put together. I had a decent amount of stitching this week, so this is going to be a regular floss tube, and I'm hoping to, in the next day or so, gather everything and organize it and everything else, and the parade will be a floss tube extra. Speaking of extras, thank you so much who watched my mini ornament finishing video. Thank you for all the kind comments, and you're right, I mean, simple finishes can be great, and I'm embracing them anyway, so I might as well just embrace them when I talk about them as well, because that's just me. I do it simply. But thank you if you've watched it, and all your kind comments with that. We're in the midst of that strange time between Christmas and New Year's where we don't always know what day it is. I hope whatever's happening this week with you, things are going well and you're getting a chance to, recharge or rest or whatever. This traditionally for years and years, Mo has taken this week off between Christmas and New Year's. We haven't really done anything, although sometimes having him around the house without him working can be a little bit more work for me. But he decided that he was going to do a little bit of painting. For those of you who may be new, we are eventually moving from this house, and so we have to start getting things ready to rock and roll to put it on the market. And this room, which is, I'd say, a pale purple, but the previous people had smudges and marks on it and everything else. So rather than repainting it the purple, I think he's going to paint it white. And then the room right next to it, which he is using as his office, which was a mint green. And again, that had some gouges in the wall where they had left, taken stuff out and everything. So he painted that white because that's the easiest thing for him to do too, with the trim and the ceiling and all that. So he spent a couple days painting that other room. This room is no way, shape, or form ready to be painted because everything would have to be moved away from the walls, and that's not happening anytime soon. So I got some stitching in, but at the same time, there were many days where I didn't get stitching until way later than I would have, because I usually try to have a little time in the morning just to set aside to do a little stitching, and that wasn't happening this week. So some projects have some good progress on them and some tiny progress, but we'll get to that in a minute. One thing I wanted to talk about, so we're always looking for organizational things, right? At least I am. And I have a lot of stuff and it's organized in crazy different ways here. I'm going to have to rethink when I create the little crafting area in Delaware that I'll have, because it's going to need stitching and paper crafting. This is basically just a whole huge paper crafting area, a messy one, but a whole huge paper crafting area. So I will eventually, sadly, have to figure out how to get rid of many things. But one of the things I want to show you, which I thought I was kind of proud of, I have a substantial ribbon collection. I don't need it so much with cross stitch because, even if I'm finishing stuff, whether in a stitching scrapbook or ornaments or however, I'm not going to use as much ribbon as I have. But I put them a lot on. I was using them quite a bit with cards or tags or all sorts of things in the business. So I have a lot. And this is more if you were to have a large selection, especially a lot of colors. So I have how I stored them. If you look behind me, and I took one out already, what I did was Mo built me this little shelf, basic shelf thing. It's about the extent of his building abilities. And then I bought, I'll show you up close, one of them, candy jars. So those are all candy jars. And then I coordinated the ribbons by color, kind of rainbow color situation. So if you show one here, I'm going to try not to make too much noise with it. So this is basically your regular candy jar. Ooh, it's a little dusty. And I got these online ages and ages ago. Probably a place like maybe candy.com or something like that. I don't remember. But I bought 1, 2, 3, 6. And then I had all the different color combos. So in here, you'll see I have my pinks and my reds. And what I would do with ribbon is I would wrap it around clothespins. And then I would put just a little pin in them. So we have lots of different fun ribbons here. And again, I'm going to have to figure out what to do with all of these, because I will not need all of these for cross stitch. Ooh, I always liked this one. This was pretty. I can do a lot of ribbon giveaways, I guess. Anyway, so that's a fun way. If you have some space, you just take, and this way, because I had this shelf like that, and it wasn't flat on the table, I was able to, well, kind of put stuff underneath. It's not organized. If I was more organized, it would be organized underneath. But that way it gives you that extra height of storage. And these are just fun ways. And it looks pretty when it's dusted to have all the different colors. And then they just sit, because they're angled like that, they just sit like that. So I'll put that back. And yeah, if you could see this wall close, there's a lot of holes and stuff. So that wall definitely needed some work on it. So that's my ribbon storage, and just a fun different way to store ribbon. I always liked doing around the clothespins. I've done that for years, rather than keeping them on the spools, which can take up a lot of space. This way they can be more compact. And I would say it was about, the spools that I would get, or the things I would get, would be about 5 yards of ribbon. So that's, you know, manageable around a clothespin, especially the thinner ones. The thicker ones, like a 1-inch, I did something else with those, but that's for the most part for your 3/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, all those. That's what I do with ribbon. So that's my storage tip of the day. Okay, so let's get to some stitching now. Moving on, that was peripheral stitching. I have no finishes. I'm kind of close, but not there. And I didn't work on any that were close enough to a finish. So no finishes. I have 5 pieces that are currently in progress. And then I have 2 new starts. I was only planning on 1, and I have another one, which I'll talk about with you in a bit. All right, so the first one, make sure I know where my iPad is. This one, I'm just going to show you the black and white. It's a digital pattern, Green Christmas, from the Little Stitcher. And I'll link on down below, if you're new, all my projects are listed with any color changes, the fabric I used, and a lot of times I do try to link stores if it's like an Etsy store or some individual store. If I just got it from 123 Stitch, I generally wouldn't link it. And I am stitching this one up here, the tree. Okay. Here we go. So this, I love this. Love this. This is an 18 count Icicle from Under the Sea Fabrics. It is a very pale purple. And I would say it's the purple along the grayish family, not your orchid kind of family. Definitely more along the gray. But I think the green really looks pretty on it. The white shows up nicely, especially contrasted against the green. I thought I might get a finish on this, but I ran out of time. I have the bunnies, and I think, yes, both the packages are done, and I finished the tree. I had this to finish, but I have a whole row of snow, and then I just have to connect the ornaments, and then that one will be done. So we're getting there. I think, even though most of my Christmas is going to be put away right now, I think I may try to, maybe not every week, but in the course of a month, kind of look at what might be close, or even just work on a project for the month and see if I can get some finishes or some progress. This one, I definitely want to keep in the rotation for the week, because I'd like to get a finish on it and pull it and have it done. So hopefully next week you will see a finish on this one. Fingers crossed. All right, that's the first one. I'll put the projects right here. Okay, next. This one I hadn't necessarily planned on working on, but I decided I would do it once more before it would go away for Christmas. And that is, I have to do this because there's a pattern on the back. Prairie Schooler Christmas Tree Farm. And I'm doing the big piece right here. And now there's a lot I'm not doing with it. I'm not doing the border. And I'm going to change out the color of the moon and the stars. I haven't finally decided, but I keep kind of collecting threads to figure that part out. And then I can't remember if there's anything else. But I am keeping the called for colors besides the moon and the stars. So everything you'll see is called for. And there we go. That is, what is this called? Christmas Tree Farm. And I concentrated on building more of the forest here and working down here. I hadn't realized I had a roof started here. If I had, I might have tried to tackle that house, but I like doing the trees because it's like little mini finishes. So that's a lot of fun, and I got him into. This is just your plain old Aida, but it's an opal Aida. So there is a bit of a sparkle. I'm not sure if that's coming up on the camera or not, but that's definitely got some sparkle to it. And I did that purposely because I wanted the idea, because there's a lot of open spots, I wanted the idea of kind of sparkling snow. I know the moon and the stars are going to be shown up top, but you could have sparkle off of the moon and the stars too. So that's why I went with that color. Generally, there is some sort of reasoning and thought behind my color schemes most of the time. Sometimes it's just like, ooh, I like that color. All right, next one. And this one is on the iPad, so let me grab that. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Let's turn it this way so I can show it to you bigger. This one is from Cherry Hill Stitchery, and it's called Merry Christmas. So that's what it looks like. Now, and I recently, just a day or two, maybe yesterday, I saw somebody had finished this, but they had taken off the word Merry, whoops. Let me go back up here. They had taken off the word Merry Christmas so that it could be left up longer. And I've debated on taking that off and not doing that. And I liked how it looked. And then she didn't do the two birds down here. It was just from the snow up. And I really did like that finished look. So I have a feeling that that's what may happen with mine, which means we're closer to a finish than we thought we were. Okay, there you go. There it is, kind of up close. Give you a far away look. This now is one of my new favorites for kind of that winterish scene. This fabric is an 18 count Chinchilla from Mystic Fabrics, and you will see it again later on. I tried it on this first, and I loved how the colors looked and how the green and the red kind of popped out, the white shows up, and just that shade. And then there's a lot of different movement of color, which is kind of nice too. This is obviously much, I cut it thinking that I might put the words, so I'm going to lose some of this great fabric down here, but oh well. I did change. She did not have, in the chart, for the red and the green, it was only charted in a variegated floss. So I picked my own DMCs. The green is DMC 895 and the red is 3777. And down below, I will give that. So, you know, don't worry about it while you're watching if you wanted to change. And really, the only big difference is I got this. I think this was Christmas Eve, and we were hosting Christmas Eve. And I think after everybody left, I said, I was exhausted, but I wanted just a little tiny bit of stitching time. So I made that, and then that was it. And then this poor guy sat. So once I finish Green Christmas, I may say, especially because if I keep this without the words, this is definitely winterish, then I might have this one come out potentially next, or just continue with it and work on it for a kind of winterish finish. Speaking of winter, we've got sort of snowflakes. This is New Year's Eve, by the way. So, of course, I had to put on something a little festive. These are, they're like little, not beads, but I don't know, whatever. So they're a little shiny and a little bit of texture. And I told you I've got you covered for sweaters for a while, but this is my party New Year's Eve sweater. It's very comfy because this thing is probably older than my kids. And so I've had it for years and years and years. I wear it maybe once a year, twice a year tops. So it's held up quite nicely. I mean, we aren't even in the shoulder, there's still shoulder pads in this thing. That's how old you can tell it is. And so I figured I might wear sweatpants today for New Year's Eve, but I can be sparkly otherwise. So anyway, that's my sweater saga for the week. And that was Merry Christmas. Okay, 2 more in progress. I really enjoyed stitching on this one this week. I'm really glad I pulled it out. It's Betsy's Autumn from Plum Street Samplers. That's what it looks like. I love this one. I see more people stitching Cinnamon Stars, and I do have that in progress the whole bit. I actually prefer this one. I'm not sure why, but I do. I think it's the tree with all of the waviness to it. And so I really enjoy stitching on this one. And I got some good time this week. I was really proud of that. Or happy, I suppose. And there it is. What did I do? I worked, let me pull this over because I still haven't worked anymore on the border. I definitely tackled much more of the leaves and branches right there. We got this second part done. You may be hearing the squeaking of the brakes from the garbage truck because Friday morning is garbage morning. So at least here in Connecticut, not in Delaware. So I always have to kind of remind myself where I am to remember to put the garbage out. I did a little bit. I think what I'm going to do is tackle a strand or two when I work on this each time, just so that, because that goes all the way across. And then I think I finished the house as well. So the house is done, finally. That thing is huge. 18 count Honey Amber by Fabrics by Stephanie. It is, now on the 18 count Aida, I can't speak to any of the higher counts. It's a lovely yellow. Subdued a little bit. Yellow on the creamish side, but definitely with the yellow hue. So you'd know that it wouldn't be cream. And I thought it would show off these colors nicely. And Cinnamon Stars is also stitched in, this is cut, and then it was the other half of this actual fat quarter. So they are literally on the same dye lot and everything. They'll both be stitched on the exact same fabric. It's a great fabric. Stephanie does some great colors. I really do like her stuff. So that's that one. All right. And this one I really enjoy. So I know now with spring and summer going to be the next distant seasons, autumn may get put away, but I do like this one. So I don't know. We'll see. And I think I finally made a decision because I keep waffling and stitching on Betsy and then Cinnamon and back and forth. I think I might just focus on one, probably Betsy, and get that one done, and then focus on the other one to get on it done. We'll see. That's the sort of plan, and we'll see what happens with it. All right, I have one more work in progress, and that's Jardin Prive, Lady Halloween. That's what it looks like. And I am doing it in the 3 colors, plus a little bit of extra Etoile for sparkle. And here we go. This was one, it was funny. I was going to work on this. I don't remember if it was Monday. Because I was going to work on it. I think it was Monday. And because I can't work on this, I think Aston Villa was playing on Sunday. And the last few times I've watched, I worked on this while watching them play. They lost. So I'm not allowed to stitch on this during Aston Villa games anymore. Sadly, they lost anyway, but we won't tell them that. It wasn't my piece. But anyway, so I was going to stitch on it on Monday. And he was stuff he wanted to do and this and that. So half my day I wasn't stitching. And I said, I wanted to give this more time. So I said, okay, I'm going to stitch on it Tuesday. He's painting. That'll be good. I still didn't get as much time as I wanted to. Half my day I lost again for some other reason. So this is as much as I got. So I decided I wanted to tackle some of her dress. And so I tackled that, and then I started to work in here. I mean, it's very cool, her dress. You can see all the different pieces in there. So that'll be a lot of fun. I have to be careful over here. I have to work from here out because I had made a counting error way up here. And so this is over 1. So I have been slowly making sure everything that comes to the side is over 1, because this pattern was designed where both sides finish evenly on, I think, each way. So I'm kind of keeping that look. So it's a border without being a border. So I have to be very careful. You know, I can't jump down like the cat's really cute down here. I can't jump down necessarily and do that. I can do the stuff closest to her because I'll be counting off of her. But anything that comes to the edge, I have to wait and do that deliberately. Over here are going to be bubbles. And that will also be most likely Etoile or some sort of sparkly-ishness. I just don't know what yet. And I didn't bring my Etoile up here to Connecticut, so I'll have to wait on that. So I figured there's plenty more to stitch. And that's a lot of fun, that part. So that's a close-up of her dress. And overall, here we go. I did change one of the grays, so if you look down below, you will see that because it was not showing up on this 18 count Smoky Amethyst from To Die For Fabrics. Love this purple. This one is definitely along, this would be more of a cooler purple, not the warmer purples if you were looking at it. Although there are a few shades that could be a touch warmer, but again, it's mostly on the cooler. What else? What else on this one? There was something else I wanted to say. Oh, we have stitch along on this one. That's what it was. The losing words as you're saying them is real. It really is real. I didn't believe people when you said that would be something that would happen during this time of life, but it does. Anyway, hashtag ladyhalloweensal, ladyhalloweensal. And exciting, I know we have somebody new starting this with the new year, and she has picked some fantastic fabric. Excuse me, but that's all I'm going to say about it. And hopefully once she gets started, she will hashtag it and we'll get a chance to see some of her fantastic work. So I do have links below of people that I do know that have been working on this. If you start, let me know. I'll add you. Whenever I give the description, it's all in the description area for this piece. But this was originally started with Gail Phillips. And Gail's doing a beautiful, beautiful job of it with all black silk. But she did use, might have been DMC Light Effects, something like that for the hair. It looks fabulous. So give that a check out if you wanted to watch Gail's videos. I think her last stitching video, yes, her last stitching video, she showed this and the progress on it. So there we go. All right, so those are all the pieces in progress. I have 2 starts. Now, this first start wasn't yesterday. It was the day before yesterday. So Connor has a bunch of friends at school that, you know, of his closest friends at school, college. Their birthdays are all apparently January and February. And so he wanted to get people little gifts. And so he's discovered Etsy. That's dangerous. A kid with just a debit card discovering Etsy. But anyway, so he's been trying to find little things for all of his friends. And he had this grand idea. Oh, Mom will teach me how to stitch and I'll stitch one of them something. So I had said, okay, but show me what you're going to get before you get it, because I'll tell you how realistic it is. Well, he didn't do that. He just bought it. Now, to be fair, it was a 50% off item, so he didn't spend more than, I think, $3.50 on it. So, okay. At least he didn't spend a lot of money on the pattern. He bought a digital pattern. He showed it to me. And I said, oh my goodness. This is what you want to try stitching on. So, let me show you what it is, and then we'll continue the story. I don't even know what he searched, to be honest with you. he went to 2x2 Stitch Art is the name of the store. And they have quite a few of, you know, the pieces in the hoops. They have some that are not, but you know, kind of, they're the circular pieces, and very often they're finished in a hoop. So Connor found that he had actually bought a set of 2. This one I'm showing you is just this one. But there was 2 in the set that he got. So he really actually didn't spend much money on it. But this is called Northern Lights. No, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But that is full coverage. Full coverage. Now, I said, you didn't think it was 2x2, right? He's like, no, I didn't think that. Of course, he didn't look at the pattern. It is 130 by 130. Full coverage, full coverage. So I would have him start with 14 count fabric. It is 9 by 9, full coverage circle. You know, I stitch on 18 count. It's still 7 by 7, full coverage. So let's show you this again. Now, Connor's never stitched before. I think Megan tried. She did a little piece. I think I showed it in one of my like my second or third video, because I finished it for her, fully finished it. And then she was kind of like done. She really didn't want to stitch after that. Neither one of my kids have a huge love of crafting. If Megan sat down and does something with cards, she can come up with some really cute things just with paper piecing and all of that. Connor never really cared. So for him to say, he was creative in the sense of, for theater, he built sets, and he was part of set crew and building, and he's very good at that. But nothing like this. So when he showed me this, I said, are you sure? He's like, yeah, it'll be good. I got 2 weeks before I go back to school. Now, Connor's a kid with ADHD. This could go 2 ways. One, it will be very good for him because he's got that hyper focus at times on mostly video games, but you know what I mean. So it might be something that he could really focus in on. Or, because obviously it's full coverage, there's multiple color changes. It's beautiful, but it's different variations, very close variations of the different colors. It could be something that would frustrate him very quickly. We'll find out. He started it yesterday, 14 count. I think he did 2 strands, and then he took a break. I need to get, we don't have needles that have bigger eye. I need a needle with a bigger eye because he was getting frustrated with the needle threading, but we'll see. So long story, before that, I said, you know what? I'm also going to give it a stitch. It's pretty, so I'll stitch it. And if he decides that this is just not working for him, you know, brain-wise or whatever, then, you know, I'll stitch it. If he wants to give it to his friend, great. If he doesn't, it's just a stitch piece I have. There's no way it's going to be done in 2 weeks, though. I've decided that, even with me doing it. First off, it's on Aida, which is not something I would want to do every day, all day. Plus, I don't do that. I don't like that. I like switching my patterns every day, just for some variety. So even, I might do a strand a day, and then each week give it its own day. It's not going to be done. This is what I've got. I worked on this yesterday. Now, granted, again, I'm back and forth doing stuff and everything else. I don't sit down for huge periods of time stitching. And with Aida, I certainly don't, like the stiff Aida. The looser Aida doesn't have a problem, but the stiffer Aida, after a while, my hands feel it, you know, kind of going through it. This is not the Aida that I've been buying lately, the Kato brand. This was some that I had older. I want to say Kate's Cross Stitch on Etsy. Might have been where I got it from. This is before I discovered the Kato. And for the most part, it's pretty good. I mean, it's stiff, but it has a little bit of movement. And if you crunch it, here I just ironed it and I'm going to crunch it up. If you kind of work it and move it around, it loosens up after a while. The one thing is, it is a bit schlubby in some cases where it didn't cleanly, you know, I don't even think you'd be able to see, but there are a few. With this pattern, it's not going to matter because it's full coverage. So I really didn't care. If I was to use, I still have some of this left. If I was to use this again, I would be very deliberate in looking to see if there are any of those, I'm gonna just call them schlubs. I don't know exactly what they would be considered on Aida, where they are and if they would be an issue. Stitching them is fine because then you stitch through the holes and you get rid of it. But if that was a section that was open for whatever pattern you happen to be stitching, you'd notice it because they are kind of noticeable when you just look at the fabric. So for the longest time during the pandemic, she was out of this, and then when she got it back, her price was double what I was originally paying about $18, $19 for a yard. And then when she finally got her stock back, she was charging $36 a yard, which is why it was a happy incidence because then I found the Kato, which is about $18.99 a yard. She might have her prices back to original pre-pandemic prices. I mean, if you just wanted some Aida, you know, she's very quick. She's a good seller. And I think she has other sizes and some colors as well. I know she certainly has cream and black, but I would just be careful in some cases. Other times it's fine, but that's what I've got. This right here is 3 different colors, and there's a lot of counting and going back and forth and making sure. I mean, first time I looked at this pattern when he showed it to me, it's a 4-page pattern. I said, that right there is a problem for you. Try to work it on it. We printed it off. I said, either mark things off or just work on it on your phone. Because then obviously, because she does give one, it's small, but she gives a digital of the whole thing. If you put it on your phone, you can just make it bigger. So I said, maybe do that as opposed to trying to work between the pages, because then that makes the counting worse. And when you're working with colors so close with what they look, it's tough. So this will be beautiful. I love the colors in it so far, but I have a feeling that we'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks with him. And in the meantime, I will work on it. Again, it's pretty, so I'll work on it. And if he wants it in the end when it's time, great. If not, it's just part of my stitching. So we'll keep you posted on that saga. All right, the last one was a planned start. I really wanted to do this one as a Christmas start. And Christmas, we go to my in-laws on Christmas. So I knew I wouldn't have to cook or clean or do anything like that. And the kids are older now, so there's not the Christmas morning craziness. They just slept in, which is fine. We were still up early because of the dog. There's no sleeping in the shamrock, but you know. But once I figured out what fabric I wanted to do, I really wanted to give this one a start. Well, it's a restart of a restart. So this is the 3rd time I've started this. And it's Christmas Eve by Prairie Schooler. And it's the big one. I have stitched, I'd have to show you at some point. I have stitched this one. They're cute. I would like to stitch the other ones as well. Now, I originally started this back in 2019 at some point. And at that point, I just had your neutrals and your basics. So I think I started it on Vintage Country Mocha. And I'm sure it'll be lovely on that. But you know, I've jumped off into the world of hand-dyed fabrics. So then I decided I was going to try it on a opal, but the blue with the opal was not going with these colors very well. So I found I was having to change colors, and it wasn't working for me. So after probably just 1 or 2 stitches, I said, no, I need to find something else. So when I started the Merry Christmas by Cherry Hill Stitchery on the Chinchilla, I loved it so much. I said, that's what I'm going to do Christmas Eve on. I threw the flosses on there. They looked good. I'm going to show you what I have. I love it, and I'm really happy. So this is what we have. This is an odd shaped piece, so this is why this all looks kind of weird. So it's a small start, but that's my Christmas start. And I love the colors on this. So Mystic Fabrics Chinchilla. I actually have, because I had this was a fabric of the month. It was back in April 2021. And so I have the one piece, and I don't have it yet, but I ordered some more from her website because I really love it for the winter and these kind of colors. So that's kind of what it looks like close up. I will probably change the called for threads in his face because I think they're very pink, as Prairie Schoolers usually are. And you know I do change that. But I love all of the colors are showing up so nicely against this gray that I'm really, really happy with this choice. So I'm not changing it again. Not changing it again. This is the one that it's going to be. So yeah, this probably won't get a lot more stitching right now. We'll see. But this might be one that I might pull out 1 month and have it be like every week a little bit of stitching on it. But I'm just excited to start and excited that I really like the color that it is on. So that's it. Those are my 2 new starts and all of my works in progress. And that should be it. Today's the 31st, so there'll be no more starts for 2021. I think I'll do the numbers during the whip parade, I think. I don't know how many starts I had, how many finishes I had. Obviously, some of the finishes would have been from not just 2021, but 2020, and maybe a time or two, a couple pieces that had been carried from 2019. So I don't do lots of stats. They'd be very simple, rough, and rustic, but I have like your basic kind of stats and numbers, just out of curiosity. I don't go by numbers too much. So that's it. That's the stitching. Okay. I do not have a lot of shopping at all, to be honest with you. Very little. If Heaven and Earth hadn't had a sale, I'd have nearly none. The only thing I did get, I do have a couple things coming. Fabrics of the months. A couple fabrics of the months, I think. And then I picked up some floss. That was kind of a, what was it? It was kind of a sparkly sort of floss. It might be the DMC Light Effects, actually, or something like that. Once I saw Gail's, I was like, ooh, I've got to try that. And I tried a new shop on Etsy that had it. I'll let you know. Service was very quick. I ordered it. It was shipped the next day. It was packaged that night and then shipped the next morning. So really quick there. So I'll let you know when that comes in, more about that. But there was a fabric store. Now I'm talking finished fabrics, you know, the cotton fabrics that you get, you know, all the different places. I had a store that I had been following, or I had liked on Etsy, and I have never ordered from them before. And after doing my little ornaments, I decided I wanted to up a little bit of my fabric. I could make a trip to Joann's. It's probably about 25 minutes away from here, but I just don't seem to get out. And at some point I might, because I like bringing my pieces and putting them up against the fabrics. But I decided I would give this place a try. And I think it was free shipping over 30. So I bought a bunch of fat quarters. And I thought it was very affordably priced. They were very quick. I can't for the life of me remember the name, but under the shopping section, I will link the shop before. And this is what I ended up with. So, you know, obviously, I'm not going to show them all, but we have, you know, a couple reds and orange type of things. Here we have some sets of greens, because I had no real greens. I always like, with blues, I go gravitate towards the navies a lot of times. This was really nice. These were fun. Different variations of the candy cane stripe sort of thing. Oh, some more greens, because again, I was trying to supplement the greens. And then a couple of like the gingham type of things. So all of those came, they were shipped, it was right around Christmas. So it was shipped very reasonably. And then it was just a matter of the post office getting it to me. But I'll link the shop down below. I was pleased with the service. And yeah, so that's the one thing that came in the mail. That's it. That was all that. And then Heaven and Earth. You know, I haven't even started a Heaven and Earth. My plans are to start one tomorrow for New Year's. But I haven't even started one yet. And here I am. They had a sale right through Christmas, right around Christmas. And I said, oh, 50% off. I'm always up for a good sale. So I looked at the minis a little bit more this time around. The first sale, I bought 2 full-size pieces, and one of them I will start tomorrow. although it's not like the giant, humongous ones. I lucked out. It's, you know, it's a doable full size. This might go this way. It might be cuter to see it this way. But this time around, I bought 3 minis and 1 full size. I've got fluff on my thing. Because the minis were like $6. So, you know, a piece that big for $6, it just, you know. And I did try to look at these with some sort of critical eye in the sense of not crazy confetti. Because I have a crazy confetti, the Christmas one, Christmas tail. And so I wanted some. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot. It doesn't look like there'll be color changes, but there will be, obviously. But it's not quite like one of Amy Stewart's shelves or anything like that, which must be amazing, but crazy to stitch. So this one is called Mini Bookworm Fairy. I just thought the colors were pretty. That was nice. So I picked that one up. Then this one, oh, this would look better this way. I loved this one. And it is called Mini Magic City with Books. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I love books. I know I don't talk about reading a lot. I used to read so much more, especially before kids. I was an avid reader. And then with kids, I read, especially when they were of a reading age. A lot of times I would read books either with them or before them to make sure they were okay. And I really loved that young adult, and I still do, the young adult literature. Many of the authors I love. I just haven't really read that much anymore of them. Although I love listening to Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, talk about books, because I'm always like, oh, I'm going to read that. And oh, I'm going to read that. And I'm just going to have to go through and look at whatever books she's read and then try them. But anyway, so that right away caught me because I do love books. Now I mainly read cozy mysteries. They're small. I mean, like most things, there's a formula to them, but they're cute. And I have 2 people on Instagram that I follow who seem to read them as well. And I just go by what they say is good. And then I read them. This one is not a mini, but you know me and the beach. Look at that. I think it's just called Lighthouse. Yeah, it's just called Lighthouse. Isn't that gorgeous? When I work on these, I will tell you who the artists are. And then the last one, this is so cute. I love all of hers. This is Lucy Pitaway. I'm not like a big sheep person. Mouse Potato, Felicia, I know how much you love your sheep. And sheep kind of focus on all of hers for the most part, but I loved the colors. So this is Minnie watching the world go by. Look at those colors. I adored it. So the mini is a 9x9. That's not bad. I mean, regular size I think was 15 by 15. Oh, this is 9x9 on 25 count. Okay, so it'll be a bit bigger on 18 count because that's what I'll stitch it on. But still, overall, it's going to be doable. So those are the 4 that I bought. And then I just put some more on wish lists because they have some amazing patterns there. So I am going to start, I believe it's called Hidden Harbor, tomorrow. I put it in my stories. I went to Michael's because I had to get floss for Connor's piece. And I got floss for him and floss for me. Because, of course, did I bring up my supply of DMC from Delaware? I was like, no, I'm not going to bother. So I had to get floss. And then I had some Michael's Rewards and I had a coupon. So I bought just about all the flosses for Hidden Harbor. I think there was a couple they didn't have in stock. So I had the flosses. I'm using 18 count white Aida, the Kato white Aida. And that will be my start for tomorrow. Now, speaking of which, I did look at Knit Companion. For those of you, I haven't completely done all the videos. I looked at 2 tutorials from Jan Hicks, and I realized quickly that I was going to give the paid version a try. What Jan showed, and you know, Jan does a great job. If you're thinking about Knit Companion, if she said if you're a knitter, it's a must. I don't knit, but I guess she knits as well as uses it for cross stitch, and she loves it. But the two things that I really wanted out of it, I can use it with my iPad, so I do not have to buy some sort of Kindle device to use Pattern Keeper. And while I have been trying to do iBooks on my iPad, I've been having some trouble with some of the patterns don't translate for me to cross off and everything like that. So the paid version, and it's $20 for a year. So I figured I'll give it a year's try. If I love it, I'll keep it up. If not, I won't keep subscribing. The paid version offers two things that I love. It lets you mark off as you go. It doesn't do counting stitches and all that, but I don't really care. I wouldn't use any of that, so that doesn't bother me. But you can mark off, as you go, the little lines. The other thing it does, for multi-page patterns, you can stitch them together. And so this way, when you're doing the piece, you don't have to go between page 1 and page 2, trying to figure out how to do it all so that you don't end up like with break lines or anything. I have not played with that part yet. Jan showed how to do it, and then Needlebug has a 1-hour video, and I've only just started watching hers. I'm sure she's the one that showed me my one strand loop video, and she was great at discussing that. So I'm sure her video on Knit Companion is going to be fabulous. I'll let you know more once I watch it. But those two things made it sell for me. The other thing it does, which is nice, is, and I don't know if Pattern Keeper does this or not, but Knit Companion, you can upload it or download it from Dropbox. And I have had Dropbox for years. I've had the paid version of it because I wanted the extra space, and we all have it. It's a family thing. So somebody can put something on Dropbox and somebody else can use it. But I have Dropbox on my phone. I have it on my iPad. It's on the main computer. So anywhere we go, the laptop, I could, we've always been able to use it. But with the iPad, I can either just put the pattern right into Knit Companion and then later on upload it to Dropbox, or I can put it in Dropbox and take it into Knit Companion, and then it crosses my devices. So I could use my phone if I had Knit Companion on the phone as well as my iPad. So that's kind of nice as well. Or if it was a smaller, thing, Dropbox, I can use my phone for it. But that I think you can do no matter what, even if you do the free version, because there is a free version of Knit Companion. But those other two things, most especially knitting the pages, sewing them together so that I don't have to switch between the pages, was a selling point for me. So I would recommend the two Jan Hicks. I don't know if she's got more. There was 2 that I watched so far. I will watch Needlebug. I think Knit Companion themselves has some videos that discusses just using cross stitch for it. So I'll watch those as well. And I'll give you more info as I'm working on it, because before I start stitching, the one thing you do have to remember before you start stitching it and crossing off on your patterns, you have to sew them all together if you're going to. Because if you start crossing off and then you say, oh, I got to sew them together, you're going to lose the other crossing off part. So I have to play around with it a little bit, attach the stuff, and then be able to start stitching. So once I start using it in earnest, I will let you know more about it. But I did decide, it was $19.99 for the year, and I did decide to get that. I will give you more info as we go along with that. But that is my planned start for tomorrow. So that's a lot of fun. I'm excited to give that one a go. It's a pretty picture with lots of great colors. You'll see that next week. Or you might see it if I do get it started tomorrow, short of there being any issues, my project parade, which hopefully will be coming. My projects in progress parade, try to say that fast 10 times, hopefully will be filmed and coming out. Hopefully I can film it by Sunday, and whether it'll come out Sunday or Monday, I don't know. But be on the lookout for it because that's coming. All right, so that's it. Giveaways. We have very little giveaway business. It's awesome. All my old giveaways are gone. Everybody got back to me. If it was a physical item, it's been shipped. Digital items have been taken care of, and we are good. It's been a long time since we've been like that. So this past week's giveaway, you were getting various ribbons. Did I say it was 2 yards or 3 yards? They're already cut. But there was 3 different finishing ribbons that I'm giving away. We have a cotton twill tape. We have twine. And, you know, the burlap, more of the burlappy twine as opposed to cotton twine. And then we have this gorgeous kind of polka dot-ish. They will all be nice and neat when they come to you, whoever wins it. And I asked you to say the word dasher. So let's mix them up. All right. And the winner is there just one? I'm always afraid I'm going to pick a couple and then I have to repick. Denise Gray. Denise, congratulations. You watch and are always so nice about commenting. So congratulations, Denise, you've won. If you could get back to me with your address, I would be happy to ship those out to you. So I'm going to put those with your name and I will get those out. Okay. This week, because it's New Year's and we're celebrating, and I know we're in a rough patch, but I'm still holding out hope that 2022 is a step forward and things are going to get better. I'm going with that. I'm throwing out the good vibes. So anyway, I thought we would celebrate with a little bit of funness. I don't know. If you are like my son, you are a fan of Betsy. So I thought a gift card, a gift certificate to Etsy would be fun for New Year's. So whoever wins will win a $20 gift certificate to Etsy. I've never actually given one. I was saying to Mo this morning, we should have probably given one to Connor for Christmas. But I'll figure it out. How hard can it be? But anyway, a $20 gift certificate to Etsy. If you would like to have your name put in the bowl for next week, just say the word midnight. A time I will not be awake at, but midnight. I will be in bed way before the new year. I won't be actually seeing it change. But anyway, if you say that word in your comment, it can be just said. It doesn't have to be put in a sentence, but some of you are so clever. It's hilarious. But your name will be entered for the $20 gift certificate as a thank you, as a happy new year, as a we are going to get through this together and things are going to get better celebration. So that's the giveaway coming up. Oh, I need to put my How many of you do this? I do this. I've got to be better about, I have a tendency to do that. And I am so tight right here as a result. Okay. So anyway, that's the giveaway. And that's the stitching part. That's it. That's all we got. All right. Life. Really quick. I thought this was going to be a shorter video, which is why I pulled out the whole ribbon and storage thing. Because I didn't have much besides just my stitching. I rambled, I guess, anyway, like I normally do. Life. So I saw you Christmas Eve morning, and then Christmas Eve, I was exhausted. So we decided so Christmas Eve and Christmas Day is generally the same people. My in-laws come over and my mom comes over. And then my brother, sister-in-law, and her daughter comes over. So there's 10 of us. Well, on Christmas Day, we go over my in-laws and my mother-in-law invites my mom. So for 7 of us, it's the same exact people, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So it was kind of like if now we had not seen my brother on Thanksgiving because we were in Delaware. We brought the grandparents down to Delaware. And Mike was like, I really want to see everybody. So I said, okay. If we had had Thanksgiving and we had visited with him, I'm not sure we would have done Christmas Eve because this back and forth stuff, and I got to start getting the house ready and all that. But I wanted to see Mike. I wanted to see his family, and we wanted to visit. And he wanted to see, because he didn't even see my mom for our mom for Thanksgiving, because she was in Delaware. So we did something, but we said, okay, we're going to scale it down. And you know how that goes though, right? I mean, even if it's a simple meal, it still takes a lot longer and effort than you think it's going to. I know in the summer it's hilarious. We're like, oh, we'll barbecue and it'll be easy. But by the time I make all the sides and everything else, I'm like, oh, I'm exhausted. So anyway, I almost got to the point. If I could have convinced the grandparents to eat tacos, we were going to do a taco bar. Because I was at that point. I'm like, that's what we're doing. We're done. But anyway, maybe next year. Maybe next year I can convince him. My sister-in-law said, oh, I would have loved you forever if you'd done that. But anyway, we did, whatever, the basics, but we toned it down a bit. But it was a very busy day. You're cleaning, you're cooking, you're doing all that stuff. I was kind of scatterbrained. Usually I'm much better with my lists and the timing, not so much. So it was a bit kind of crazy getting everything ready, and you're visiting and whatever. So that was exhausting. It was exhausting. I mean, I'm so glad to visit with everybody, but I was really happy when everybody left and I just had a chance to sit down and chill for a little bit. And then Christmas Day, we went to my in-laws and did that. So that all worked out well. We're all kind of in a small bubble. The four of us actually. Christmas Eve morning, we were able to get our hands on a couple months ago some home tests, home rapid tests in Delaware. So the four of us tested on Christmas Eve morning just to make sure. We didn't want to bring the grandparents in if for some reason, but we were all negative. So that was fantastic. And so we felt comfortable seeing everybody and that, so on and so forth. So we did that. And yeah, that was really nice. And then Christmas Day was really nice. It was cold. Both days were very cold. Christmas Day, I would have loved to have gone for a walk, but it was kind of rainy on Christmas Day and cold. And so that didn't happen. Later, I want to say one day during the week, though, it got really nice. It got nicer. And so we were able to go to the park next town over and went for a nice walk. But yeah, because I don't think Christmas Day, I think it was the day after Christmas it was nicer. So we went out and we went for a walk. That's what it was. Yeah, because I had to laugh because my dad lives in Florida. My dad and stepmom live in Florida. And, I talked to him for Christmas and I said, oh, Merry Christmas. It's cold here, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, it's 82 degrees here. I was like, thanks, Dad. So I think I texted him the next day. Mo and I had gone for a walk and I took, selfie, whatever, with us in our hats and everything else. And we're like, well, we at least got out and got for a walk. So yeah, so it was Sunday that we went for the walk. But anyway, I was really regretting not being in Delaware because I think on Christmas Day it was like 62. I would have taken that. I would have taken that quite happily. Or it might have been Christmas Eve. One of the days it was like 60 something and the next one it was 50 something. That would have been a little bit nicer. So anyway, other than that, Mo painted one of the bedrooms and we have chatted with a friend who is a real estate agent. So she will be at some point coming in through and telling us all the things we have to do to start getting the house ready. It probably won't be it'll be a good, probably another year before this goes on the market. It's going to take me a year. I'm looking around my room right now and it's going to take me a year just to figure out what to do with all of this because it's not all coming. I'd say 25% of it will come down to Delaware with me. So I have to figure out which 25% I'm going to keep and what to do with the rest of it. We'll see. So, so there'll be some cleaning and decluttering and just fixing because I can't, some of it, there's nothing I can do about it right now. There'll be some fixing before we bring her in. So that might be some, in my future. New Year's Eve, we're always in. I haven't been out on Christmas Eve. We used to take, when the kids were smaller, we used to go and we'd go to a restaurant. A lot of times Thai food because we all like Thai. And we'd go to a restaurant, early meal, and then come home, watch a movie. Sometimes the kids stayed up to midnight. Sometimes they didn't, whatever, and so on and so forth. And then after that, there were times where they wanted to go out, but it was one of those nights I never really felt. I didn't like them driving out late. It's the one night that I'm not a fan of being out on the road post midnight. Or if you're going to come home, please come home right after midnight before people who have been partying all night get on the road. So I always like it when they're in. And obviously this year is a very quiet, stay in sort of year. I will be in bed probably at 10, my normal time. So I will not see the time change from one year to the next, but that's okay. I will be up bright and early tomorrow morning to see it. And I think we're going to do a charcuterie. Now, I have to laugh because the actual term charcuterie means like meat type of board. I don't eat meat. Connor doesn't eat meat. I don't eat cheeses or anything like that either. I make a really nice vegan cheese ball, and then we put, I have a good white bean dip and some hummus, and we put out all sorts of other fun stuff, and crackers and bread and veggies and fruits and all this kind of big board. And every once in a while we do that for a dinner. We're going to do that for our New Year's Eve dinner, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. I've got my cashews soaking right now for my cheese ball, so I'll be making that after I talk to you. And yeah, so that's it. That's all that's, really on the agenda. And house decluttering, maybe. That's coming up this weekend. Other than that, I will be getting ready for my parade. So be on the lookout for that video. If you are still watching, I hope you have a fabulous New Year's. However, whether you're sleeping through it like me, or if you are up celebrating the change from one year to the next, I hope whatever you're doing, you have a lovely time. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. I know there are people out there that are not feeling great, that are sick for a variety of reasons. I'm thinking about all of you. I'm really hoping and wishing you wellness and all that good stuff. So you're in my thoughts. You really are. And I hope you're well. And I hope for all of us that 2022, we will turn a corner, and just move on and be better. Things will be better. That's my hope and my thoughts. And I hope you get lots of stitching done, whether it's this weekend, whether it's for New Year's. I know there's some of you are doing that 12 projects for 12 hours types of thing. Have fun with it if you are, or just in general, whatever stitching you happen to be getting done. I hope you have a fruitful stitching session. And until next time, not only Happy New Year, but happy stitching.